These 13 teas have been quietly doing real medicine long before pharmacies existed, and one of them, sitting in your spice rack, hits the same inflammation pathway as a common painkiller. The other, an ancient root, only works if you brew it with a tiny twist. If you want practical, science-backed herbal tips you can actually make at home, hit subscribe and stay with me for the full countdown. I'll move from 13 down to 1. And for each tea, I'll give you what it does in one breath, a quick historical anchor, what modern research or mechanism tells us, a simple way to brew it well, and the single safety note you should keep in mind. We'll label the likely timeline for results: immediate, what you might feel in minutes to hours, short-term, days, or cumulative, weeks of regular use. Quick warning before we begin: herbs are active compounds. They can relieve symptoms fast, but some work best over time. If you're pregnant, breastfeeding, immunocompromised, or on prescription medicines, check with your clinician before making a daily habit. Number 13. Rooibos. Why it matters. Rooibos is a caffeine-free, antioxidant-rich tea that soothes and refreshes without the jittery after-effect. A cup of rooibos has been enjoyed for generations in South Africa as a calming, naturally sweet brew. Modern lab work points to unique flavonoids in rooibos that act as antioxidants and modulators of inflammation and oxidative stress. Not the loud, drug-like effects of pharmaceuticals, but subtle biochemical support. Practically, steep 1 heaping teaspoon of dried rooibos per cup in just off-boil water for 5 to 7 minutes. Longer steeping deepens flavor without extracting caffeine because there is none. Drink it anytime you want a gentle, hydrating lift, especially in the evening when you want caffeine-free comfort. Safety note: rooibos is broadly safe, but if you have a sensitive liver condition or are on multiple medications, check in with your doctor before making large daily doses part of your routine. Number 12. Dandelion, root or leaf. Why it matters. Dandelion tea supports digestion and liver flow, and the roasted root makes a rich, coffee-like brew for a bitter, restorative start to the day. People have used dandelion across continents as a bitter tonic for the liver and gallbladder. The root was often roasted and drunk as a warming substitute for coffee. Phytochemicals called terpenoids and bitter compounds seem to stimulate bile production and improve fat digestion, which is why some folks notice faster digestion or better appetite regulation after sipping a cup. To prepare, simmer 1 to 2 teaspoons of coarsely chopped roasted root in a cup of water for 10 to 15 minutes. Leaves make a lighter infusion steeped 5 to 7 minutes. Timeline: you may feel digestive relief within a meal or two, while effects on liver support are more cumulative. Caution: because dandelion can alter bile flow and has mild diuretic action, avoid it in acute gallstone pain and consult a clinician if you're on bile-affecting drugs. Number 11. Elderberry. Why it matters. Elderberry has a long reputation as an immune-supporting tonic, and when used correctly, may shorten upper respiratory infections. Across Europe and parts of Asia, cooked elderberry syrup and decoctions were traditional remedies for colds and flus. Modern trials are small, but suggestive. One randomized controlled study found that a concentrated elderberry preparation taken at the first sign of illness reduced symptom duration by about 4 days compared with placebo. The active compounds, anthocyanins and other polyphenols, may have antiviral and immune-modulating effects. Preparation matters. Raw elderberries, leaves and bark contain compounds that can be mildly toxic, so always cook the berries. A practical regimen is to simmer ripe, cleaned berries with a little water and optional honey for 10-15 minutes, strain, and sip the warm decoction or make syrup for short courses at the first sign of a cold. Timeline: short-term. Greatest benefit is when started early in an illness. Safety note: never use raw berries. Keep home preparations modest and brief, a few days, and avoid in pregnancy or if you're immunocompromised without medical guidance. Number 10. Why it matters. Thyme tea is aromatic, comforting, and historically prized for respiratory support and mild antimicrobial action. Herbalists for centuries brewed thyme for coughs and chest congestion. Its scent is unmistakable for a reason. Thyme contains thymol and related compounds with antimicrobial and spasmolytic properties that can ease cough and loosen mucus. Mechanistically, thymol has shown activity against certain bacteria and may relax airway smooth muscle in lab models. To make a soothing cup, steep 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme or half a teaspoon of dried thyme in boiling water for 5 to 8 minutes and inhale the steam as you sip. Timeline: you may notice symptomatic relief for cough or throat irritation within the same day. Caution: thyme is potent. Avoid large concentrated extracts if you have thyroid disease or are pregnant without professional advice. Number 9. Hibiscus. Why it matters. Hibiscus tea, a jewel red tart infusion, offers a pleasant caffeine-free way to support healthy blood pressure when taken regularly. Hibiscus has been used as both a cooling beverage and as a folk medicine across Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Clinical interest has followed. One randomized controlled trial showed that regular consumption of hibiscus tea was associated with an average drop in systolic blood pressure of about 7 points compared with control, suggesting that hibiscus can be part of a heart-healthy routine. The mechanism appears to involve mild ACE-inhibiting effects and antioxidant action. Brew 2 teaspoons of dried calices per cup, steep in hot water for 5 to 10 minutes, and drink 1 to 2 cups daily, over weeks, to see effects. Timeline: cumulative. Measurable changes in blood pressure typically show up after weeks of consistent use. Safety note: hibiscus can lower blood pressure, so be cautious if you already take antihypertensive medications and avoid it in pregnancy unless cleared by your provider. Mini hook. For instant digestion relief, reach for the tea coming up at number 8. Number 8. Peppermint. Why it matters. Peppermint tea can bring fast-acting relief for nausea, cramping, and general digestive discomfort. From Mediterranean households to modern teacups, peppermint has long been the go-to for an upset stomach. The menthol and related compounds in peppermint relax intestinal smooth muscle and can blunt visceral pain signals, which is why people reach for it when cramps or nausea strike. For quick relief, steep a large, fresh sprig or 1 teaspoon of dried leaves in boiling water for 5 to 7 minutes. Sip warm rather than scalding hot. Timeline: immediate. Many people feel easing within minutes to half an hour. Caution: peppermint can relax the lower esophageal sphincter and may worsen reflux or heartburn in some people. Avoid it if you have significant GERD unless directed by your clinician. Number 7. Clove. Why it matters. Clove tea is warming and analgesic, and its key compound, eugenol, works on the COX-2 pathway in a way that is mechanistically similar to some over-the-counter anti-inflammatories. Clove has been used across cultures as a warming medicine and dental analgesic for centuries. The spice's strong aroma is a shorthand for potency. Modern phytochemistry points to eugenol as a primary active constituent. It reduces prostaglandin production by inhibiting COX-2 enzymes, the same biochemical target many NSAIDs act upon, which explains clove's notable anti-inflammatory and pain-modulating feelings. To make a cup, lightly crush 1 to 2 whole cloves and simmer in a cup of water for 5 minutes. Strain and sip warm. You'll feel the warming, numbing sensation quickly, useful for sore throats or localized oral discomfort. Timeline: immediate relief for pain or throat soreness is common. Caution: eugenol can interact with blood thinners and may enhance anticoagulant effects. Use clove moderately and check with your clinician if you're on anticoagulant medications or preparing for surgery. Across these 7, you can already feel the theme. Some brews deliver fast onset symptom relief: peppermint for a queasy bus ride, clove for a sore throat. while others, like hibiscus, ask for patience to reshape physiology over weeks. The ritual also matters. Heat extracts different compounds, so simmering versus quick steeping changes what you get out of the plant. At this halfway mark of our countdown, you've met caffeine-free comforts, digestive tonics, immune allies, a blood pressure friend, and a spice that shares a pain pathway with common analgesics. Up next, we'll move into the teas that do more than soothe one symptom, the ones that blend immediate comfort with longer-term support, and the number one tea that needs a very specific pairing to be bioavailable in your body. Stay with me. The top 6 are where the kitchen really starts to read like a medicine cabinet. Number 6. Ginger. Why it matters. Ginger is the go-to for queasy stomachs and motion sickness, and it also brings fast-onset warming relief for digestive cramps and nausea. Ginger root has been prized across Asia for millennia as both food and medicine. Fresh slices in broths, candied as a throat soother, or simmered into a restoring tea. The active compounds, gingerols and shogals, appear to act on the gut-brain axis. They speed gastric emptying, modulate serotonin receptors in the gut, and reduce local inflammation, which together help blunt nausea and cramping. Multiple clinical trials have found ginger helpful for pregnancy-related nausea, post-operative nausea, and motion sickness, though formulations and doses vary. To brew a practical cup, slice a thumb-sized piece of fresh ginger, about 1–2 tablespoons thinly sliced. Simmer in 2 cups of water for 8 to 12 minutes, then strain. Add a squeeze of lemon and a teaspoon of honey if you like. For immediate relief, sip slowly at the first sign of queasiness. Many people feel easing within minutes to an hour. Caution: while ginger is widely used in pregnancy, high doses can be controversial. Stick to culinary amounts and consult your provider if pregnant or on blood-thinning medications, since ginger may modestly affect clotting in large amounts. Number 5. Nettle. Stinging nettle. Why it matters. Nettle tea is a nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory infusion that supports seasonal allergy symptoms and adds mineral-rich balance to your diet. Across Europe and North America, foragers have used nettle leaf as a mineral tonic and a traditional remedy for hay fever and joint discomfort. Cooking or drying removes the sting and leaves a spinach-like herb. Phytochemicals in nettle, flavonoids, phenolic acids, and a suite of minerals like iron and potassium, may reduce histamine release and blunt allergic inflammation. Clinical trials using nettle extracts have shown reductions in hay fever symptom scores in some participants. To make a cup, use 1 heaping teaspoon of dried nettle leaves per cup or a generous handful of blanched fresh leaves. Steep in just off-boil water for 7–10 minutes or make a larger infusion to sip throughout the day. Timeline: allergy relief may be noticeable within days of regular use during high pollen seasons, and the nutritive benefits accumulate over weeks. Caution: avoid raw, fresh nettles. Always dry or cook them to neutralize the stinging hairs. If you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or on blood pressure or diuretic medications, check with your clinician before regular use. Mini hook. Coming up. 3 calming classics that help you sleep without leaving you groggy in the morning. Number 4. Chamomile. Why it matters. Chamomile is one of the gentlest teas for winding down, improving sleep quality, and calming anxious minds without dependence. For thousands of years, chamomile flowers have been steeped as a bedtime ritual. The apple-like aroma itself signals rest. Science points to apigenin, an antioxidant flavone in chamomile, which binds to GABA receptors in the brain and appears to produce mild sedative and anxiolytic effects. Randomized trials have shown improvements in sleep quality and reductions in generalized anxiety symptoms with chamomile extract or tea in some populations. To prepare, steep 1 heaping teaspoon of dried flowers or a small tea bag in a cup of boiling water for 5 to 10 minutes. Cover the cup while steeping to keep the volatile aromatics in the brew. Timeline: many people feel a calming effect within an hour. Consistent nightly use can improve sleep patterns over weeks. Caution: chamomile is related to ragweed. If you have severe pollen allergies, test a small sip first and avoid if you react. Also, be cautious with sedative medications, as chamomile's relaxing effects can be additive. Number 3. Lavender. Why it matters. Lavender tea offers a floral, gently sedating cup that calms an anxious mind and eases you towards sleep without the fog of stronger sleep aids. Lavender's scent has long been used in pillows and baths to promote relaxation. The tea captures some of that profile through volatile compounds like linalool and linalool acetate, which influence the nervous system via GABAergic pathways and may reduce physiological markers of stress. Clinical studies of lavender have shown modest benefits for anxiety and sleep when used as aromatherapy or oral preparations. The tea form is milder but still useful as a nightly ritual to steady heart rate and quiet rumination. To brew, use 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried lavender buds per cup, steep in boiling water for 5 to 7 minutes, and strain. Pair with chamomile for a rounded floral blend. Timeline: the calming ritual can be felt immediately. Measurable improvements in sleep may appear with nightly use across a few weeks. Caution: lavender can interact with sedative medications. Avoid if you have hormone-sensitive conditions without clinician guidance, and choose culinary-grade buds to avoid adulteration. Number 2. Passion flower. Why it matters. Passion flower tea is a focused herbal ally for anxiety and insomnia that may improve sleep quality without creating dependency. Traditionally used by indigenous peoples and later adopted in European herbal medicine, passion flower's vine and blossoms have a long history as a calming tonic. The herb's active constituents, flavonoids and alkaloids such as harmane derivatives, appear to modulate GABA activity and reduce hyperarousal, and several small randomized trials have reported improvements in sleep quality and reductions in anxiety symptoms when passion flower is used as an adjunct. To prepare, steep 1 teaspoon of dried herb or 1 small sachet in a cup of hot water for 7–10 minutes. Some people like to blend it with chamomile or lemon balm for a gentler flavor. Timeline: many users notice sleep onset improvement the first few nights, with more consistent changes over weeks. Caution: because passion flower acts on the central nervous system, avoid combining it with prescription sedatives or heavy alcohol use, and consult a clinician if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or on psychiatric medications. Mini hook. 2 childhood staples become modern helpers. Next up, a deep green antioxidant-rich cup and a root that's as useful for inflammation as it is for a warming ritual. Number 1. Turmeric. Golden milk. Why it matters. Turmeric is the top pick for long-term inflammation support and a warming restorative. Used correctly, it becomes bioavailable enough to make a real biochemical difference. Turmeric root has been a cornerstone of South Asian culinary and medicinal traditions for thousands of years. Its most studied compound, curcumin, has broad anti-inflammatory actions in lab and clinical settings, interacting with pathways like NF-κB and various cyclooxygenase enzymes to reduce inflammatory signaling. However, curcumin is poorly absorbed on its own. The crucial kitchen hack that turns turmeric from an aromatic spice into a therapeutic brew is combining it with black pepper, piperine, and a fat sauce, which dramatically increases absorption and tissue availability. Many clinical studies exploring curcumin's effects on markers of inflammation and pain have used concentrated extracts, but regular dietary approaches like a well-made golden milk can provide meaningful cumulative support when consumed daily. To make a practical, bioavailable golden milk, simmer 1 teaspoon of fresh grated turmeric or 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of high-quality turmeric powder with 1/8 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper in 1 cup of milk, or a milk alternative containing fat, coconut milk or whole milk. Simmer for 8 to 10 minutes to extract the curcuminoids, strain, and sweeten lightly if desired. Another option is to blend turmeric with a source of healthy fat, a splash of coconut milk or a teaspoon of olive oil, and a pinch of pepper in a warm drink. Timeline. Anti-inflammatory and pain-modulating benefits tend to be cumulative, often showing measurable changes with consistent daily use over weeks to months, while some people report a comforting, warming sensation immediately after drinking. Caution. Turmeric and curcumin can interact with blood-thinning medications and may affect gallbladder function. Avoid very high supplemental doses in pregnancy and consult your clinician if you have chronic conditions or take prescription drugs. Synthesis. Making these teas a practical part of your week. You've met 13 teas that span immediate symptom relief, short-term easing, and longer-term physiologic support. The useful frame to keep in mind is simple. Match the tea to the timeline you need. For immediate symptoms, nausea, cramps, throat soreness, turn to ginger, peppermint, and clove. For short-term supportive uses during an acute phase, elderberry at the first sniffle, thyme for a cough. Start early and keep the regimen brief. For cumulative health-shaping work like blood pressure modulation or chronic inflammation, build a routine with hibiscus, turmeric, and regular rooibos or nettle infusions. Ritual matters, steeping time, water temperature, and whether you simmer or quick steep, change the chemistry of your tea. Simmering extracts resinous compounds and oils, think ginger, turmeric, clove, while quick steeping preserves volatile aromatics and gentle flavonoids, chamomile, lavender. Practical weekly routine ideas to revitalize your body. Morning. Start with a warming ginger infusion if you need digestion help, or a roasted dandelion root brew as a coffee alternative that supports bile flow. Midday, hibiscus iced or warm for a tart, refreshing cup that, with regular use, can gently support blood pressure control. Afternoon, rooibos for a caffeine-free antioxidant lift, or nettle as a nutritive boost during allergy season. Evening, wind down. Choose chamomile, lavender, or passion flower to quiet the nervous system and promote restorative sleep. Daily ritual. A nightly golden milk with turmeric, black pepper, and a fat sauce makes inflammation support easy and comforting over time. Rotate these drinks so you aren't taking large amounts of any single herb every day unless recommended by a clinician. Pairings and combos that work well. Some herbs amplify each other when brewed together. Chamomile and lavender form a calming floral duo. Turmeric pairs with black pepper and fat for bioavailability. Nettle blends nicely with lemon balm or peppermint for a refreshing mineral-rich cup. When combining herbs, think about the dominant action you want: calming, anti-inflammatory, digestive. And choose one leading herb plus a complementary support herb to avoid overloading any single pathway. Safety checklist before you make these teas a daily habit. Pregnancy and breastfeeding. Many herbs have insufficient safety data at medicinal doses. Stick to culinary amounts and discuss therapeutic use with your clinician. Ginger is commonly used for nausea in pregnancy, but keep doses modest and get personalized advice. Avoid routine high-dose turmeric or concentrated extracts unless cleared by a provider. Medications. Hibiscus can lower blood pressure, clove and turmeric may interact with anticoagulants, and several calming herbs can interact with prescription sedatives. If you are on blood pressure meds, blood thinners, antidepressants, or immunosuppressants, check with your clinician. Do not stop or change prescribed medications on the basis of herbal teas. Acute conditions. Don't use bitter liver tonics if you suspect an obstructive gallstone. Seek medical care for severe pain. For respiratory distress, high fevers, or progressive infection, herbal teas can be supportive, but they are not a substitute for urgent care. Again, quality matters. Choose culinary grade or reputable dried herbs, wash fresh foraged greens thoroughly, and cook elderberries to remove potential mild toxins. When in doubt, buy from trusted suppliers and avoid unknown blends with opaque ingredient lists. Final notes on expectation management. What Revitalize really means here. Revitalizing the body through herbal teas often looks like small to moderate changes that add up. Immediate symptom relief, a settling cup of peppermint or ginger, improved sleep and lower stress, chamomile, lavender, passion flower, and modest but meaningful physiological shifts over weeks. Hibiscus reducing systolic pressure, turmeric lowering chronic inflammation markers. These are accessible, low-cost interventions that sit at the intersection of tradition and lab bench. Not miracle cures, but practical, kitchen-ready therapies you can try responsibly. Which one will you try first? Tell me in the comments below which tea sounds most likely to help you feel revitalized. And if you want a printable card of the best brewing ratios, say the word. If this kind of practical, evidence-forward herbal guidance helps you, subscribe for more weekly breakdowns of kitchen medicine. One last safety reminder, herbs are biologically active. If you have serious health conditions, are pregnant or breastfeeding, or take prescription medications, check with your healthcare provider before starting regular herbal regimens. Use teas as supportive tools, not replacements for professional medical care.